All right, today we're going on a journey to one of the most remote, most fascinating places on Earth. We're going to explore a kind of high-tech fortress that's been designed to preserve our digital world for 1,000 years. So yeah, let's dive into this incredible story about civilization's ultimate backup plan. But first, just think about this for a second. Imagine that invisible web of code that runs, well, everything. Our power grids, our phones, our banks, all of our collective knowledge. What if it just disappeared? It's a pretty terrifying thought, right? Because that invisible web, that's pretty much the foundation of modern life. And this is where we get to the central paradox of our time. We create more information, more data than any civilization in history, but it's unbelievably fragile. I mean, look at this. A simple clay tablet baked in the sun can outlive our most advanced hard drives by literally thousands of years. It really feels like we're building our entire world on digital sand. And that brings us right to the heart of the problem that this vault is trying to solve, just how fragile our modern age really is. You know, some historians and archivists call this the digital dark age. It's this idea that there could be a huge gap in our future historical record. You've got bit rot, which is where the data itself just physically degrades over time, and then you have hardware that just becomes obsolete. You can't plug it in anywhere. We seriously risk losing everything created since the computer age began. One single major catastrophe could wipe our modern history clean off the map. So how in the world do you solve a problem that big? Well, as it turns out, you go to the absolute ends of the Earth and you build a fortress inside the permafrost. The Arctic Code Vault is located way up on Svalbard. This is a place of total extremes. We're talking polar bears outnumbering people. It's about as remote and inhospitable as you can get on this planet, which, it turns out, is exactly what you want for a project like this. And the choice of location here is just, it's strategic genius. First, you've got the permafrost. It's a natural freezer, a totally passive system that needs zero power. So if the grid goes down, who cares? Then there's the political situation. It's a demilitarized, totally neutral zone thanks to an international treaty. And if that wasn't enough, the whole thing is buried hundreds of meters deep inside a mountain, inside an old coal mine. It's shielded from pretty much any disaster you can possibly imagine. So we've got this incredible fortress. But what's inside? I mean, what is so precious that it needs to be buried in a mountain near the North Pole? The answer is open source software. And there's a really deep philosophy behind this. This isn't just about free software. It's about a global collaborative project where millions of people build technology out in the open. See, unlike proprietary code, which is like a secret recipe owned by one company, open source code belongs to all of us. It's humanity's shared technological inheritance. I absolutely love this analogy. If you imagine our civilization is like some grand cathedral, well, the open source code in this vault is both the architectural blueprint and all the tools you'd need to actually build the thing. It's the fundamental how-to guide for our world. So the key thing to get here is that we are talking about the actual DNA of our technological society. This vault contains everything from the Linux operating system, which runs most of the internet, to the original guidance computer code for the Apollo missions that took us to the moon. It is the absolute bedrock of our modern world. Okay, so you have the perfect location. You have the world's most important code. But how do you make sure it can be read in 1,000 years? This is where the technology gets really clever. This was the central challenge, right? Like we saw, hard drives fail, flash drives corrupt. Even our best CDs and Blu-rays will degrade and become unreadable. To last a millennium, you have to think completely differently. You have to think analog. And the process they came up with is just so elegant. Here's how it works. First, all that digital code is converted into these super high-density QR codes. Then, those QR codes are physically etched onto a special, incredibly durable type of film. After that, a visual how-to guide is added to every single reel, and then the whole thing is sealed away in a blast-proof chamber. But this human-readable guide, that's the masterstroke. It's basically a modern Rosetta Stone. The whole thing is designed assuming that future generations might have lost all of our technology. So this guide visually teaches them how to decode the data on the film using nothing more than a simple light source and a magnifying glass. No computers needed. It's brilliant. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and just look at the bigger picture here. Where does a project like this actually fit into the long arc of human history? Well, the truth is, this vault is part of a very, very long tradition. From the Great Library of Alexandria to the original Rosetta Stone, humanity has always had this deep-seated desire to preserve its knowledge against, the ravages of time. This is just the next chapter in a story that's thousands of years old. Its closest neighbor is, of course, the famous Svalbard Global Seed Vault, and that comparison makes everything click into place. The Seed Vault is saving the raw materials for our food, our physical survival. The Code Vault is saving the raw materials for our civilization's operating system, our intellectual and technological survival. One is for our bodies, the other is for our minds. So what does it all mean in the end? The Arctic Code Vault is this act of incredible optimism, right? It's a belief that our knowledge, our story, is worth saving. But at the same time, it's a really sobering admission of just how fragile we are. And it leaves us with this one final, pretty profound question to think about. What does it say about our civilization that at the absolute height of our power, we're already building our own beautiful, functional, and very necessary ruins?